your people to wander in, and we have people wandering in. Okay. And going to keep checking in to see if people are. All right, so welcome. Finally, this day has come where I get to present my ideas as to what is it that I am doing at the Wounded Healers Institute and with the Path of the Wounded Healer. And this is going to be an orientation, one that is meant to kind of last for other purposes down the line. And the part of this today, if people listening, if they need to get a hold of me, feel free to text or email. I will be kind of monitoring that as well. And if there's any issues that you're hearing or anything like that, that would be helpful for that. So with the Wounded Healers, I'd like you to be able to open up a tab in whatever you are on and looking at the webpage, or you can think about this as you have already explored it to some degree. Looking at the webpage and really seeing the 4 or 5 different domains and outlining that a little bit and seeing if there's any questions around, the titles, and I'll just kind of walk through the webpage a little bit and then orient people towards, their task here and what it is that we're doing and why we're doing it. Okay, so the first webpage heading is education. So I purposely did education instead of training because training, I am arguing, is for dogs. Education is where you are able to think for yourself. And if we want to think about that in this context, that's what I'm promoting in the sense of the maturing of this inner world at its own pace, in its own time, in its own way. And education, I think, is another way of, being able to think for ourselves and being able to, grow into our own. Education is a way of leading. The root word of that comes from leading. And what I am doing is leading to me the field with, the topics that I have specialties in. And it's a tough thing to be able to say expertise because I do feel that some of these things are pretty base, kind of like the baseline product of a car you would buy, like it's the basics. I think we have the ability to do these things. I think life gets in our way often, and also like habits get in the way and stuff like that, which we will discuss about that. So education, people at this track may have some foot in there, others may not. Then the next tab is consultation. That's more for training type of thing. Coaching is where we're going to be spending time today. And then research, generally people aren't people are aware of it. Everybody here in general is going to be a part of our in-house research that allows you to give me feedback as to what it is I'm presenting. Well, you can always give me the feedback, but it's just a matter of that I can use that feedback to be able to support and to cite nothing that would personally, be revealing to you, but I can be able to cite how how the course of treatment went with somebody with this or with that kind of a situation and stuff like that. So with that, I'll explain a little bit about the path of the wounded healer, and also kind of going back to the tab of education, going down all the way to the bottom of the drop down menu and going to um, online courses. That is where you are going to find, in general, the course structure that will be the highlight really for this course, although a lot of the stuff will take place in a setting like this. Um, Basically, what I'm looking at is how do I divide my time versus my expertise? And if people want my expertise, I can record that. And people can check into that. Now, personally, some people have, like, I have personal expertise in the sense of, like, I know people's story, and then, that is more for the individual stuff. However, what I am kind of playing with here is, and or like testing, I guess we could say, but I've already tested this throughout the course of myself and or the course of my clinical, treatments, to help people create healthy habits and, to engage in states of healing to help them lower their stresses. Because part of what I'm arguing is that the stress levels that people are at today, nowadays, in a sense, in our modern times, that the stress levels that people are at are too high because we're just driving too fast. So why don't we add some more relaxation type of things into people's lives? And we need to program that in. We need to condition that into people's lives. And that is really what the path of the wounded healer is offering. And the opportunity to grow and heal, post-traumatic growth, is the heart of it, and or going from a place of, illness to recovery. And recovery has, many implications, but I mean, in a generic term, not siding with one thing or another, but just recovery and healing, they're the same word to me in general. So um there I admitted people into the path of the wounded healer. um is there anything else I need to say about the Wounded Healers Institute? There is a manual that I have finalized that if you are a part of our, any of the classes or particular classes, not just the training, but it also kind of outlines in general the path of the wounded healer. um, Although, like, you can't download it, so I'm being cautious about who can, like, download it or have a hard copy of it. Right now it's available, but shouldn't be downloadable. As many of you know, I've been having a lot of background discussions about how to do all this, and legally, and then the web page launching that type of stuff has been a year in review. But I'm really excited to finally be here, being able to. Ultimately, what I want to do is be able to teach, and a lot of different reasons for that. And people who are interested in what I have to say, my hope is that if you build it, they will come. And um, um, all right, let me adjust this. Um, oh, shoot. Oh, yeah, I am recording this, I guess, technically. Okay. All right. So, in essence, Wounded Healer is teaching people to become healers, training, and teaching people how to heal themselves. And I would argue, I guess, a part of that is self medication. Um, and one of the arguments around addiction is that it is self medicating. And I'm not sure there's anything wrong with that. So part of our courseworks is to include cannabis in your process at some kind of point, whether you are a regular user or if you are a new user. Giving the opportunity for people to explore medicines, and or the states that the medicines produce, which namely cannabis, CBD, or THC, is going to provide a way of easing the body, um, with an outside agent, but it combines with the inside. We have a cannabinoid system that is natural to our body and helps us relax. And again, my argument is helping people relax more regularly and putting people to task to be able to do this thing called relaxing. And part of the argument is that the more people relax, the more they'll be able to show up for their life and be more present. And combining that with meditation, we start to exercise the muscles in our mind and our brain to be able to be focused and be present. So um, I would say that we're not treating anything, although the things that we would be treating um, are not diagnosable at this point. And even if you are diagnosable, it doesn't mean that you can't benefit from these, because what we are working with is developmental trauma, which is technically not a disorder, and attachment trauma, which is me showing up for people on a regular basis and continuing my work, um, and having a relationship with a teacher, an educator, in that type of way. Um, and which changes the relationship for the therapeutics of it. But still somebody looking out for your best interest and being a witness to your process. And i I envision transferring a a relationship, but like not one that like it's like one or the other. It is like, how do we incorporate medicines into our life, or just relaxation into our life, like meditation. And meditation isn't necessarily only about relaxing or like getting the benefit of meditation. Meditation offers really a way of self-healing, which self-medicating, these types of things are all very similar. Healing as an enterprise is what I am trying to teach on. And for people who are wanting to learn, then by all means. And for people listening, my ultimate goal is to make this more accessible to more people, or make myself more accessible to more people by providing more access to the content. And or I have to kind of give myself to everything that I do. And so doing something like this, my hope is that the people who vibe with me in my approach, or my ways, and of my teachings, that will grow, and that would give me the ability to have more freedom of time, um, and also be able to um, have this work spread. um, and my hope is to keep lowering the cost as it gets bigger. um, and so as you are, joining a gym, and for lack of a better term, and or a process of like, holding your feet to the fire of, me being an educator, and, being a leader in that way. Basic formula here is the path of the wounded healer, is to start living the life that you haven't been, because I'm arguing that people are addicted to not doing that. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times people are putting their efforts into things, and trying something new. Like they'll start exercising for, a week or a month or a couple days or whatever. Like, I want to get those numbers up. If you find yourself, starting something and then stopping, um, I want to challenge you to kind of get back to the thing that you may be avoiding. And as everybody in this process is able to, speak the same language of like, meeting area, we're, all on the same page, and I can use the same language as people have, filtered in through my experience, or my work. And it continuing to grow will help it spread. Um, the goal isn't here necessarily to teach you how to how to take drugs. The goal is for you to become aware of how to use them for your benefit. And you can get a prescription with the amounts of stuff on it, but nobody necessarily teaches you how to navigate what the medicine is doing to you. Right? They just say like, yeah, well, just take the ride, and we, I think as healers, we feel it's not. that easy of a ride. You would want to have a guide. You would want to have somebody sitting there. And I'm really arguing for all medications. I would, you know, run of the mill Lexapro or something like that. I mean, Wellbutrin or something like that. I feel like there should be some reverence to, and even food, taking in food to be able to absorb the nutrients and, gain the benefit, the transfer of energy into our lives. Um, and I think that when we give reverence and we imbibe with medicine in a ceremonial way, that we gain the benefit of asking for permission for it, and or to be able to get our unconscious informed consent. And that to me is important because our body is sometimes avoided, um, as part of the calculations for our, more cognitive, rational, social needs. Our body is usually sacrificed for that. We sacrifice our sleep, we sacrifice our diet, and all in the name of convenience because, modern day life has gotten to where it is. And slowing that down means that things may come up from the past, which isn't a bad thing if you see the past as a um, uh, an experience that is still echoing through time. And having shifts in states of consciousness helps people, and talking about them helps people orient their system to the truth that they have now as compared to what it was then. Because a lot of times our past is, very much keeping us in the past, because there's a looping effect. And as we're coming up on Groundhog's Day, it's very apropos. Um, So I invite people to utilize medicines that are legal in people's states and they're conscious. Um, and cannabis being really the only one that is legal. We will also be doing other things, breath work, stretching, exercising, and stuff like that, to help create the habit of you doing this in your own life and not doing it alone, really, because I'm doing this too. So part of this comes down to like doctor heal thyself, right? So physician heal thyself, and it's I would say a commoner's point of view of like doctor, don't do something on me that you wouldn't do on yourself, right? Or like take care of yourself before you think you can take care of me. And I think that interpretation holds a lot of value to me because I do think there's wisdom in the lived experience of clients or patients or whatever, people. Um, and I think that there's value to that, and I would want people to, kind of honor and listen to that. So, if you already take medicines, all I'm saying is take it consciously. Um, and take it in awareness and even take it in ceremony. And I'm not just talking like within wounded healers. I mean, even food, taking it in ceremonially and spiritually and stuff like that. It gives pause, when we ask permission for our body. Is this what is right for us? And if our body's saying yes or no, like, then instead of like later when your body reacts to it, um, then you get the point. Um, this is all about building awareness. And I find that awareness, particularly combined with neurofeedback and meditation and cannabis, it is really about raising an awareness, but the awareness comes from the actions that the insights have given us or have given us the direction to do. So I want to challenge people to, find the courage and to risk, like starting a yoga practice again and failing. You'll probably fail, but that's why, as a coach or educator, I'm here to make sure that you get through to the end of the education, and seeing you through. Um, Now, in the spiritual side of things, I also am looking at how, we all can admit that we have this inner world and this meeting area, and we have to be real about the possibilities of the end of life coming. And a lot of times we're holding on to stuff from our past, and or we can't get it. Um, 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 I'm losing it. Losing the train of thought. This is the thing that sucks about not having a live class. Yeah, that's totally gone. That train of thought. Let's see. Um, well, I'm gonna pick up and I'll probably find it. Oh, so taking food, taking medicine, just asking permission, allowing the unconscious body to be present in your awareness when you are ingesting anything, and even any situation, anything you're consuming through the five senses. So I'm looking at the path of the wounded healer as a ongoing thing, and right now I have about a year's worth of material for people to be engaging in. Actually, it's probably about 5 years of material at least, but like I want people to be engaging in the online classes and bringing stuff um, that they have questions on or they want to, entertain into their individual sessions. And what I want this 2 hours to be for, and right now I'm just orienting people. What I want this 2 hours to be for is that you can just drop in, and because cannabis is so versatile in the sense that, like, if you smoke, it's probably about a 2 or 3 hour high. Whether or not high is the right word is another question, um, but we may need a reset. People need a place to, in a sense, to drop in. And what I am basically going to do is organize this 2 hours. And then there's going to be other classes that will have more programmatic and they can be where people can see each other and more interactive. But the concept for this class, the coaching kind of class, that doesn't necessarily have a didactical portion to it, um, is having people be able to just take it to the medicine, whatever it is that day, whatever it is that week, whatever it is that whatever. And I'm going to basically record the music that I'm playing and the meditation that I'm guiding, knowing that people are bringing the work that they are doing. I want to create a 2 hour or I want to invite people into my 2 hour practice that I do regularly. Now the question becomes is how regular do you have to do it? That's where I kind of want to, kind of explore that. And some of the recordings, once you figure out like how much stress you need to be able to relieve to make yourself sane and or functional or like happy and or aware. Now for a lot of people who are stuck in the traumas of their past, they may need to do more surface level things, which that may be more of the some of the coursework that involves books and stuff like that. And then people who live in their emotional body at all times, they need that level. People who need to be able to drop into their body, or people who need to spend time in their meeting area to get it organized, people who need to practice with people um, instead of doing it alone. Um, this is for that. So basically, um, people who are imbibing with medicine and or like want to do like healing states. This is a healing state class. I guess maybe I have to tune that definition a little bit, because the online teaching portion, I want to make a live version of like all of the classes that I'm going to be running. And it is set up like this 2 hours is going to be set up kind of like a Dharma talk, meaning that like I'll talk a little bit about something, um, and you can offer what you want to as far as intentions and taking it to the medicine or taking it to God or taking it to yourselves, your meeting area, whatever, and sitting with it. and having it be like, if people are unfamiliar with Dharma talks, like basically there's a Dharma talk, there's a, somewhat of a ceremony, and then there is sitting with, doing a meditation and, or, just basically sitting with it for however long a period of time, whether it's music and stuff like that. But, and then, kind of a closing ceremony. And that's basically the formula. For this 2 hours. The other classes that will have more programmatic type of thing, people are welcome to join that. Again, my expertise versus my time. Um, and, trying to be, real about that for my health needs and my family's needs. And also, I guess, professional needs as well as whatever I'm growing grows. Let's see. So people have asked, like, okay, what is this? It's a lot to be able to offer people, as far as concepts and or ideas. And there's so much theoretical stuff that this is all based on, philosophical, maybe not theoretical. I think it's the truth, but I guess that's what makes it, theoretical is, I guess how can you prove it? I think I have qualitatively. Um, and that's good enough for me. Um, so for people who have been doing some of the online classes, or have looked them over and or are previewing them, so the basic formula looks like a meditation basics, and then that acclimates people to doing the post-traumatic gym. And then there's going to be more specialty type of topics. I'm going to do dissociation, and the 12 steps. Basically, I'm going to go through each step, for 12 weeks. Um, the meditation class is a hybrid of, a bunch of things that I want people to be able to do to partake in some of the ceremonial aspects of this. Um, whether that's consuming medicine or not, but, even breath work is going to lead people to altered states of consciousness that I think are worth, having some of these basic, preparation skills around, and being able to ground and being able to, regulate ourselves back to our normal. And if Canvas helps us get there, that's all the better. If not, that's fine too. Um, And then, the other topics, will be, working through like some expressive arts, working through Jamie's book. We can also review, some of the other textbooks that, or I guess class, they're more self-help oriented books, because ultimately, I want people to be able to, self-propel themselves into the future, while also having a home base that they can always, rejuvenate and get regulated, with. Um, so Jamie has a book, Process and Not Perfection, that we can work through as a class. We'll also be introducing dancing mindfulness, which is another one of Jamie's creations. Nikki will be spearheading that, here in the next few weeks or months. The Canvas classes, are, these are kind of prerequisites, as far as like the meditation class. Although if people have a meditation practice, I really want to challenge people to really take a look at the quality of their meditation practice, because if that is the ancient way of helping people regulate and be able to help themselves in the long run, then that's the primary skill that I would want people to have for the long haul of life and, the aging process. If your meditation practice isn't getting you necessarily the, um, equilibrium, the balance that you are needing to be able to be present and regulated and be able to manage your life as you would want, then your meditation practice, we're going to kind of review that probably individually. But there's stuff on the classes to be able to kind of check your meditation practice. But the biggest thing is here is the outcome. Like, are you getting what you would expect from your meditation practice? If you're revisiting a meditation practice, it's not a failure. You're just returning back to it, and really, it kind of comes down to what the root word, from the Latin, discipline, to be able to be a teach. This is something that you do that teaches you something. It should humble you. That is really what meditation is about, is humbling ourselves to where we actually live. And where we actually live is our body. And what our body actually is a collection of memories, of which has a conscious awareness to it that we call the unconscious. So it is not unconscious. It has a wisdom. It has a lot of things. It has a pharmacy. It has a library. It has um, a jungle gym. It has, the body is the playground, right? Um, and so we want to use the mind, because the mind is the fruit of the tree. Um, the fruit of the tree allows us to, plant seeds in down the road for people, and so new life can grow. And how I'm looking at what this will be for the next probably about 6 weeks is really a recap and a review, and or like an introduction to the mindfulness meditation class. And so this will be my orientation class, for the general term, and then we will open it up to more special topic type of stuff. Um, so I'm going to ask if the people who are listening, um, if they would want to ask any questions as far as what I've presented so far. So feel free to shoot me an email or text around anything that I've said so far. If I don't hear from you, that's okay. And just so we don't forget about the kombucha. Healthy living. Okay. So if people are either not listening or they don't have any questions, then I have done my job. And what we will do now is really the first introduction. So if you are somewhere with food around, if you can grab something like a light snack, or if you're not, then you can just kind of do this in your mind. If um, Yeah, either or. If you have something, preferably like a fruit. Raisins are usually how this is done. And we're going to do a quick exercise in mindful eating. And I'm going to see if this is possible. I don't think I can tie in sound, but maybe you can just hear it in the background. So let me just ask if somebody can send me a quick text that they can hear. If they can hear this. Really? Okay. That is not in my favor today. Okay. We'll just go in the old ways of things in silence. All right. Thank you. I couldn't even hit play. I don't know why, but I appreciate the. All right, so bringing your awareness to the present moment as best you can, and a slight orientation towards meditation in general. You can think about it like chapters where you first are starting to read the book. You're becoming aware of the present moment, getting oriented to the context of shifting into a new space of presence and awareness instead of consuming knowledge and consuming information. And some general principles with meditation, having your eyes open or closed, not a huge factor. And if you're just finding what works for you, sometimes people will leave their eyes half slit, if you can see that, and holding that. But usually there is a 1,000-yard stare happening where we are kind of just looking out into the distance, into the skyline. As we watch each breath unfold, releasing and relieving any unwanted or any needed stress that needs to be acknowledged. And as we settle deeper into our present moment, becoming more aware of our body and the imagery in our mind, and if you have the food with you or mentally, just picking it up and holding it. And if you're already doing that, just being more curious about the qualities of it, examining it, not doing anything with it. We're not in a state of consuming, we're in a state of presence and awareness, being curious. And the shape and the color in this food that is going to nourish your body, where it came from, the nutrients that and how it got the nutrients, where those come from, and how long those nutrients have been circulating around and around over the course of time and geological time. Noticing the weight, how it smells, and even noticing any physical reactions that you're noticing. And for consuming it, being very intentional and slow about it, savoring each passing moment, noticing the draw to wanting to eat it, the natural inertia to just unconsciously consume it, and consuming it as you see fit. Texture and the taste, the change in your experience, and eating it as you see fit, and then returning as slowly as you need to back to the present moment after digesting it. And hopefully, you have a little bit more food. Because, in contrast, we're going to do that again. But now we're going to unpack how this piece of food came to your presence. Thinking and taking kind of like you lost your keys and going back and finding out, what were the last steps you took to get the food and the time and the energy to go to the store to get it, the money that you used to buy it, the money that the store used to put it on the shelf or vendor, and the trucks that it arrived on at the store, the hands that unpacked it, and even going back to when the truck was loaded or how the food got dropped off. Maybe it's local, maybe it's national, maybe it's international, and just allowing your mind to tell the story of the fruit that you're about to eat or the food that you're about to eat. And going back to where the food organically came from, the land that it was cultivated on, the people who had to attend to it or make it, the nutrients in the soil, and even the story of soil and how important it is to our ecology and our well being. and even the generations of seeds and plants and trees and organics, how long they've survived, how long those seeds have been planted and grown again through all the trials and tribulations that the planet Earth has gone through, the renewal processes that it has had to endure in its billions of years, and even the light from the sun, how long that has been shining and giving nutrients to the ancestors, and how the past is present with us in this moment, even if we're not aware of it. And as we go back in time, we may lose our place, we may lose our spot and where we are in the book. Maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't. Being with all sides of the experience, being with all parts of you in the past, present, and future, being in your awareness as you eat, as you nourish your body, and as the nutrients absorbs within your body. Noticing how your body feels and how it relaxes. Absorbing the nutrients of the food and all of its ancestors. Giving thanks, giving gratitude, giving compassion for what this food has given you. And what it's given you for the moment, for the day. Knowing that you'll need more in the future and doing what you need to do to be able to have moments like this again, where you're tasting what you're tasting and feeling what you're feeling, thinking your thoughts, not attaching to anything, just being a witness to the experience that you're witnessing, not unconsciously just consuming, learning how to slow things down, and finding the actual pace of life is as easy as a stroll in the park. Walking is the pace of life. People who are running have a place to go or a place to get away from. We're slowing things down to a walking pace so we can feel the presence of the day, of the moment, of the now, and settling in for a couple moments and minutes of silence, just following your breath. And taking some time to reflect upon your experience before you would open your eyes or anything. Remaining in the moment, preparing for a shift, but still staying there, kind of thinking of what it was like to experience this. And I'm going to invite you to take a moment and either draw or journal when it feels right to come back. And we're going to come back at the top of the hour. So taking the time you need just to maybe write something down or draw something or just being present for it. And still having time to be with whatever your reflection point is at, but just preparing to transition. And I'm going to keep talking and giving you the space to just keep finishing what you're doing. And for the next hour, we're going to continue to orient and maybe to meditations and such, but also to this whole process. So, on general principle, people listening are going to be regulated, and we can easily get dysregulated by stress in life and events. Day to day life is wear and tear on the tires. Having a place to relax within ourselves, within community. And being able to have more of this calming experience. It is something that we take with us, but it's also something we need to charge and to plug into. We need a winter and a spring cleaning. You have summer and then fall cleanup. Each season of our lives have different ways of needing attending to in whatever stage of life you're at. Being mindful of where you're at in the process. Maybe it's your age or your acceptance of how long or short life can be. Being in the presence of being alive and being here right now. And by the term of conditioning, or principles of conditioning, as it's outlined in the class, the meditation class, conditioning is repeated actions or a repeated connection. And so the practice is our teacher. The medicine may be our healer and teacher. And the practice of doing, non-doing, and being with the doing is to hold the present moment with the past and the present in solidarity and with intention to bring forth this feeling into our life more, to support our ability to think and to feel and to reason with both of those sides of the coin, thought and logic and emotions and experiences. Bringing our awareness to the ability to observe both of these and hold them in contrast to each other in our mind, and to view them from the outside perspective, and seeing both of those as an experience. We can, like that, we can watch the breath in its conscious and unconscious form. being with the breathing, and the breathing being with us. And noticing the state of your reflection, noticing the experience, breathing, breathing, breathing. And as taking a few more moments to come back in any capacity, knowing that some of you may have been writing or drawing or journaling, some may have kept their eyes closed. Coming back to your surroundings, naming things that you see, blinking, becoming aware. Okay. So doing more of those types of things. Um, so the mindful eating, body scan, mountain meditation, self-spotting, parts work, meeting area work, and really lifestyle change. Really taking a look at how you can and we can start to live by the values that you hold, meaning like exercising if you're doing that. If you're not doing that, then and you want to and you need to, and you know you need to, but you're not, start doing it. Um, really taking a look at a lot of the distractions that we have in our lives. Uh, really challenging ourselves to give up something while we also do more of this stuff, and seeing if what we are doing here, meditation wise, and even with cannabis, because cannabis helps us be able to relax and be able to, possibly increase our alpha. We have to do a study to figure that out. Um, and yeah, having more of this. So my hope is that I'm capturing a lot of what I'm doing here in the classrooms with some of the exercises and or like the meditations. I'm hoping to have kind of like mental health retreat days where people are um, able to take care of their mental health, in a sense, take a mental health day or a mental wellness day, and really do all of these. So, a part of the tradition of meditation is to also have retreats, where you basically spend the whole day doing these types of things. I would be guiding those in general. The first real big one will be the 420 weekend, which the bicycle ride and um, cannabis test is the goal here. Um, so be, on the lookout for that stuff. And so loving kindness is also there too. That's what I was remembering. Loving kindness or compassion meditations and stuff like that. So keep doing. I want to challenge people to try and do as much as they can a week, and whatever that can be. I would argue that people would want to have some type of daily meditation, and I generally think that people typically do. They just may not call it that. There's various different times, but I think, setting up a practice, setting up a space, not doing it too close to, food times or, waking or sleeping times when you actually have a meditation practice. Just because you can kind of fall into sleep and then you're training yourself to fall asleep while meditating. And that is kind of unconsciously meditating, which isn't real meditating. Well, I don't know if I want to say it's not real meditating, but it's not mindfulness. um, let's see. So then after that, then there'll be a variety of places that people can go and attend and classes that they can attend. That's the general gist. So I don't have too much else in this process. I am open to seeing if people have any questions about anything that I was saying. Maybe I'll go a little bit through my expectations and or like kind of quote unquote requirements. But before then, I'll just check in and see if people want to text me a quick question about anything I've said here. Okay, we'll go with that. All right, so expectations and or um, accommodations or um, requests. I realize that the modern day pace of life is attractive and that my lifestyle and or what I am deeming to be what's right for me may not be right for you. However, I think I've provided enough evidence in topics of how to live life within the general consensus of like the things that you should do. Drink plenty of water, exercise, work, play, sleep. A lot of people um, that I've worked with and the loneliness factor that kind of plays into having to do those things alone is what I'm looking to kind of fill in the gap because this modernization has really alienated people and isolated people. So what I'm doing is kind of growing a community. I don't need necessarily followers. What I need is, to bump into good people doing good things. And I've done that in my clinical work. And there's barriers to people continuing to do those good things, and life happens. And, being more settled in my self and process, offering that process to others so they can, experience people in their lives that bring them a sense of calm and, inspiration and presence, and of which feeds them. And then they bring it and they give it to other people. Um, and it becomes contagious in that way. The process that we are doing is regulation and maintaining regulation. Um, and the skill, I guess, is really healing, being able to stay in healing states. So for the individual versus in a sense, the trainee, the path is very similar. It's just what you do with it. But healers should do their work before they really can connect with being a healer, or healing somebody. That is subjective. Don't get me wrong. But wounded healer recognizes the wounds and continues to do the right thing, um, even if it's deemed the wrong thing. A healer is ruled by morals instead of ethics, because ethics can be rewritten. Morals are instilled and or I would say fought for, and many have died for it. So I think that is the difference. Um, and so conditioning calm into your life, meditation, community, healthy living, healthy, lifestyle, even diet around, food sources, how you're getting food, where you're getting it from, being more conscientious of those things, um, where things were grown and planted and such. Um, and making the change that you've been wanting to make or that you promised that you would make when COVID hit, um, or the change that you're capable of but just aren't doing yet. Um, and that can bring up some of our biggest fears, but those fears are usually existential. And so those are the things we're going to take to the medicine. And that's the basic formula. All right, I did see that somebody sent something, so we'll do this together. All right, so the process will be sending an email, ongoing way, and then we enter the lesson. Um, okay, great. Um, all right, so yeah, some of the more practical things. Um, I want to be, I send out an email daily just to remind you that I'm here. And this is the task of like taking care of yourself today. I want to have more of an email type of thing. In the future, I may do an app. So it's like an alarm. So it can be kind of more mobile in that way. Um, and to help people kind of deprogram off of the phone stuff. Now, ironically, yes, using the phone to do that. Yes. But right now it's just going to be email. But it is a conditioning thing that I'm doing. It's a habit that I'm trying to do with that. I am conditioning you through the technology. Um, process you will send out an email link. Yeah. So what I'll basically do is I will send out something at the beginning of, maybe the same day of, for next week, and that you will have like a link that you can sign up for the class. um the payment thing is starting to get to a point where like I need to figure that out. As far as classes should be easy. Like if you can attend, you can book it, pay for it, and book it. If you have some other deal with me, then just kind of add it to whatever we're doing. um or if you like, um yeah, um the email, the classes. So the this type of a class that's like basically like a 2-hour class that I'm going to facilitate, um compared to the classes online. The online classes, you need to find your own rhythm, and you can talk about that with me individually. You want to find your own rhythm as far as how much you want to meditate and or use those classes. That's meant to be there for like, your ongoing maintenance. um Really, people, once they finish the meditation, they can go into like the gym, and depending if people are working with me and what they're doing and stuff like that, like the this is meant to be affording me more time and the ability to kind of answer questions and capture them and leave kind of a breadcrumb trail for others to follow you, um and others to, for me to kind of walk them through the path. Um, so I just want to make sure there's clarity on online and stuff like that. So I am going to record these, and they're not going to be available on like the YouTube channel like for free. They're going to be built into the course. You will basically be kicked out of the course at the end of the class, in a sense, and then put back into it once you have paid again, in a sense, or that you've signed up for it. That's the general gist there. And you'll go to the course to review the recording. So, um, yeah, I would like to make this. I mean, I'm open to hearing people's like, ideas as to like how to make this like viable, but it is hard with all the computer stuff on the other end of like having some people, pay two different prices. I have to have two different products, and I have to have two different links and two different, all that crap. Um, right now I'm liking the YouTube channel thing because it does kind of put it there, and it's an easy link. I have other means. But in the classroom structure is where you're going to find most of the answers. I don't think I'm going to do too much of this publicly. I am going to start doing a YouTube stuff, but the streaming stuff I kind of have to do this way. The other way of doing it, everybody would have to have like all their ID stuff available. I'm not a huge fan of that. I want to give people a choice. And so this is the only choice. It's either one or the other, that one or this one. So I went with this. Hopefully that answers. Any other questions? We'll give it until 1:30 and then we'll call it. And I do appreciate people coming. And hopefully this starts the process a little bit more than what I have been able to capture so far in our sessions. All right. If there's no other questions, people can feel free to, think of some and I'll answer them next time. Next week, we can do the body scan and do the mountain meditation together and answer any questions there. And probably a second part to kind of the orientation and kind of fill in what I didn't remember and didn't get to. So, again, appreciate it. Let me know if you need anything in between. All right. Take care.